8-year-old Elizabeth Strews had a very treatable condition, diabetes. But it's alleged her parents, along with their hardline religious group, stopped her medication, believing God would heal her. Now the congregation is on trial for her murder and manslaughter, a trial so big they've had to remodel the courthouse to accommodate the 14 defendants. Reporter Pippa Bradshaw's been covering this story from the beginning and was inside that courtroom today, and she joins me now. Pippa, this is a trial like no other. What was the mood there in the courtroom today?
Well, Layla, usually the mood inside a murder trial is very quiet and still. But today we saw something that I've never experienced before. It started with the 14 accused walking into the courtroom dressed in their prison tracksuits. Now, the men and the women have been separated at different prisons, so this was a family reunion of sort. It was husband and wives seeing each other for the first time in a couple of months, as well as their children. One of the accused, Keita Martin, turned around to her family, who was in the gallery, and smiled and waved at them and gave them the thumbs up, saying she was okay. Now, these 14 have refused any offer of legal assistance, so they will be defending themselves against these awful charges of killing Elizabeth Strews.
So what can we expect in the coming months?
So, Layla, we heard from the prosecution today that they are expecting to call around 60 witnesses. The trial is slated to run for around 3 months. Now, that is quite long in comparison, but there are 14 accused, remember, and they have no legal representation. All we heard from the accused today was when they were asked to enter a plea. Now, they all refused to enter a plea, interestingly, saying no plea. The judge wrote that down as not guilty, and ultimately he will be the one to decide if they are guilty or not. Elizabeth Strews was just 8 years old. She had a beaming smile and big dreams. Her big sister Jade remembering her joyful little sister.
I found out that she told everyone at school that she wanted to be a doctor to help other kids with diabetes.
In this last known photo of Elizabeth, she was perched on her dad's lap, a safe place for any 8-year-old. But Elizabeth's parents, along with 12 members of their cult-like religious group, are accused of killing her. Hi, Brendan. My name's Pippa. I'm from A Current Affair. We just wanted to ask you some questions about your church. It's alleged they withheld her insulin medication, believing God would heal her. What about Elizabeth Strews? What happened to her?
It's something you can't really comprehend. It doesn't make any sense.
I have a warrant that's been issued under the Police Powers and Responsibilities Act to search this dwelling in relation to property, okay?
No placement under arrest for murder.
The group called themselves the Saints. Leader Brendan Stevens and Elizabeth's father Jason Strews are charged with murder. Elizabeth's mum Kerry and her brother are among the 12 other congregation members charged with manslaughter. Today's trial is unprecedented. 14 accused in one go. They've refused any offer of legal help, instead choosing to represent themselves. As a result, the court had to be remodelled. 2 new rows of desks brought in with computer screens and microphones for them to today hear the opening remarks for what is expected to be a 3-month trial. Stretched across the width of the court, 14 defendants dressed in prison clothing. In her opening remarks, Crown Prosecutor Caroline Marco told the court Elizabeth's parents had a duty imposed on them to care for her and deliver her insulin. Instead, Marco told the court they withdrew it completely from her. From that point, visible to all who saw her, she was in a state of decline from which she would not recover. She detailed allegations as to how Elizabeth's parents and the 12 other congregation members sat by as Elizabeth became critically ill, choosing to sing and pray instead of calling for help. The court hearing Elizabeth's death occurred just 3 weeks after her mother was released from prison for previously failing to provide the necessities of life when Elizabeth was diagnosed a diabetic. Some of the accused sat with Bibles on their desks and laughed as the evidence to come was detailed. A judge alone will decide if the Saints are now responsible for the death of 8-year-old Elizabeth Strews.